Most people talk too much and do too little. And that's the difference right there. The poor mindset needs attention. It needs credit. It wants applause before the job's even done. But the rich mindset, it stays quiet, it works, it commits. And when the time is right, the results do the talking. That's how you separate the ones who dream from the ones who build. See, you don't rise by talking about what you're going to do. You rise by showing what you've done, and you don't earn respect by asking for it. You earn it by becoming someone worth respecting. That's how real growth happens. Quiet effort, daily discipline, and a mindset that says, I don't need to explain myself. My results will show you who I am. That's where the power is. And in this video, I'm going to show you the difference between the two mindsets. The one that keeps you broke and the one that makes you unstoppable. Section 1, commit fully until your work speaks. The truth is, your life will change the moment you stop needing approval and start demanding results from yourself. That's the shift. That's the difference between the rich mindset and the poor mindset. Poor thinking needs praise. Rich thinking needs progress. Poor thinking wants to be seen. Rich thinking wants to be valuable. You have to understand that no one owes you recognition, no one owes you applause, and no one's coming to reward average. The world listens when your work speaks louder than your words. Until then, you're just noise in a crowded room. The poor mindset says they don't see my potential. The rich mindset says they will when I deliver. One is focused on being noticed. The other is focused on becoming undeniable. If you really want to shift your life, you've got to stop talking about what you're capable of and start proving it quietly, consistently, without begging for validation. Don't try to convince people to believe in you. Just commit to becoming someone they can't ignore. That's where real power comes from. From building in silence and letting the results create the noise. The people who win don't do it by chance. They do it by committing when others quit. They show up when no one's watching. They don't post every step online. They don't explain themselves to people who don't matter. They stay focused. They put their head down and they keep going because they know the truth. Results are the only voice that matters in the end. The poor mindset is obsessed with approval. The rich mindset is obsessed with execution. That's the reality. If you're doing the work but keep asking, why don't they see me yet? You're still trapped. You're still looking for permission, and you don't need it. What you need is consistency. You need long days of showing up. You need the kind of commitment that doesn't need a witness. Do the work until it becomes impossible to ignore. Until people have no choice but to ask, who is that? That's when you know your mindset has shifted. That's when you've stepped into real growth. Poor thinking complains when things take time. Rich thinking understands the value of patience. You can't expect success overnight and call yourself committed. That's not commitment, that's desperation. You can't grow if you keep pulling up the roots to check if they've sprouted yet. You stay planted, you stay disciplined, and you trust that every day you show up, you're getting better even if no one claps for you yet. That's the mindset that wins in the long run. The rich mindset understands that your work is your voice, your habits are your resume, your results are your story. You don't need to explain it, you just need to show up and build it. The ones who get ahead don't talk about what they're going to do next year. They build systems today. They don't daydream about the future, they train for it. They don't waste energy trying to impress, they invest energy trying to improve. That's the difference. And that's what separates the winners from the talkers. Some people spend their whole life trying to look successful. Others spend their whole life becoming successful. You can't do both. You either spend your energy on building or on pretending. And the world knows the difference. If you want real results, you've got to give real effort. That means early mornings, late nights, sacrifices that others don't understand. It means doing the work when it's boring, when it's not exciting, when it doesn't go viral, when no one says thank you. That's what commitment really looks like. You have to ask yourself, are you chasing comfort or are you chasing growth? Because one will keep you stuck. The other will set you free. The poor mindset chooses the easy way. It waits for the perfect time. It needs motivation. But the rich mindset knows that discipline beats emotion, that action beats intention, that daily effort is worth more than any burst of inspiration. You don't need a crowd to believe in you. You need a reason that keeps you locked in, even when no one claps. You can either stay busy trying to look important or stay focused trying to become valuable. You get to choose. You can either keep explaining yourself or you can commit so fully that your results explain everything. You can keep hoping or you can start building. Don't wait for anyone to see you. Start doing the kind of work that they can't unsee. Because once your work really speaks, you won't have to. Your name becomes known when your work becomes solid. Your confidence grows when your discipline becomes real. Your life changes when you stop caring who's watching and start caring about what you're building. Every time you show up without excuses, without drama, without needing praise, you're building something stronger than money. You're building character. You're building identity. You're building a mindset that doesn't crack under pressure. That's the kind of person the world pays attention to. That's what success respects. And that's the mindset that never stays broke. Section 2, apply even when they say you're not qualified. You don't need permission to rise. You don't need someone to say you're ready. And you definitely don't need to wait until you feel qualified. That's what holds most people back. They wait. They wait to feel confident. They wait for someone to pick them. They wait until every box is checked. And by the time they feel ready, the moment's already gone. That's the poor mindset. It waits for the world to say, you're good enough. But the rich mindset, it moves. It applies. It steps in, even when it doesn't feel ready. If you only move when you're fully qualified, you'll spend your whole life stuck in the starting block. Because no one feels ready in the beginning, growth doesn't come from feeling ready. It comes from acting anyway. You learn by doing. You grow by showing up. You level up by putting yourself in the game, not by sitting on the sidelines thinking about it. The poor mindset hides behind doubt. The rich mindset uses doubt as fuel. If they say you're not ready, you still apply. If they say you don't have enough experience, you still show up, because growth happens when you move before you feel prepared. People will tell you you're not ready. That's part of it. They'll remind you of your past. They'll talk about what you don't have. And if you're not careful, you'll believe them. But here's the truth. No one else can feel your hunger. No one else sees what you've been building in silence. No one knows the hours you've spent learning behind closed doors. So when they say you're not qualified, they're not really talking about you. They're just talking from their own limited view. You can't let that stop you. You have to build a mindset that says, I'll show you. Not out of hate, not out of ego, but out of belief. Because you know that you're not here to wait for an invitation. You're here to earn your spot. You're here to apply anyway. The ones who succeed don't always look ready. They just start, they ask, they apply, they learn on the job. They figure it out as they go. The poor mindset fears mistakes. The rich mindset sees mistakes as part of the climb. There are people less qualified than you living the life you want, not because they were lucky, but because they had the courage to apply. They heard the same doubts. They faced the same fear, but they stepped up anyway. They put their name in the ring. They didn't let insecurity win. They didn't let other people's opinions shrink their drive. And because of that, they grew into the role. That's what real growth looks like. Not polished, not perfect, just consistent. If you always wait to be picked, you'll stay stuck. You've got to pick yourself. You've got to say, I'm going for it, even if your voice shakes. You've got to apply to the job you feel underqualified for. Pitch the idea that scares you. Start the business with what you know now. Speak up in the room. Step into the unknown. That's what builds confidence, not talking about it. Not waiting for the stars to line up, just moving. Moving even when it's uncomfortable. You don't need a degree in confidence. You don't need a background in perfection. You need action, you need decision, you need a moment where you say, I don't care if they say I can't, I'm gonna do it anyway. That's when everything shifts. Because now you're not just living by default, you're living by direction, you're not trapped in fear, you're building through action. That's what separates people. That's what builds winners. Stop looking for guarantees. There are none. Every opportunity has risk. Every role has a learning curve. Every dream requires growth. But the ones who grow are the ones who move. They ask, they try, they fail, they adjust, and they come back better. The poor mindset quits before starting. The rich mindset starts before feeling ready. That's why the rich mindset wins more. Not because it knows more, but because it's willing to try. You have to stop doubting yourself just because someone else can't see it. Your job isn't to convince everyone. Your job is to build, to act, to learn. You're not supposed to be perfect on day one. You're supposed to get in the room and grow into the person who belongs there. You're supposed to struggle a little. You're supposed to get better through the process. That's not failure. That's progress. Apply anyway. Ask anyway. Try anyway. Even if they laugh. Even if they doubt. Even if they think you're reaching too far. Because one day, that same decision, the one you were scared to make, will be the reason your whole life changed. Not because someone gave you permission, but because you finally stopped asking for it. Section 3, invest early. Even if it's small, there's a moment in life where you either decide to build or you decide to wait. Most people wait. They say, when I have more, I'll start. But that moment never comes. They say they need more money, more time, more clarity. But the truth is they're stuck in the poor mindset, because the poor mindset waits for perfect. The rich mindset works with what it has, even if it's small, even if it's not ideal, even if it's not enough to impress anyone. The rich mindset starts now. You don't need a fortune to start building wealth. You need a habit. You need to respect your future more than your excuses. You need to understand this. Money doesn't grow in big leaps. It grows in small steps repeated over time. The ones who win with money don't wait until they're rich to invest. They become rich because they invested when they weren't. That's the difference. That's the real mindset shift. Waiting keeps you poor. Action, even if it's small, moves you forward. Most people think they need thousands to get started. That's not true. What you need is a decision, a moment where you say, enough waiting, I'm going to start building today. Maybe it's $5, maybe it's 50, the number doesn't matter. What matters is the mindset. Every dollar you invest today is a dollar working for you tomorrow. It's a seed, and every seed matters. But poor thinking ignores this. Poor thinking says, what's the point? It's not enough. But rich thinking says, if I'm consistent, this will grow. The reason people stay broke isn't because they're not smart. It's because they don't believe in small beginnings. They think they need to look successful before they build anything real. So they spin to impress. They waste time waiting for the perfect moment, and they never build momentum. But if you're serious about changing your life, you've got to start before you feel ready. Start with what you've got. Use what's in your hands. Even small investments done regularly build strength, and that strength compounds. It's not just about money, it's about mindset. When you invest even a little, you're telling yourself, my future matters. That belief will change how you move. You'll spend less on things that don't grow. You'll pay more attention to your habits. You'll take learning seriously. You'll see opportunities differently. Why? Because your mindset is no longer focused on survival. It's focused on building, and that switch changes everything. People don't lose because they started small. People lose because they never start. They think starting small is a weakness. It's not. It's wisdom. It's discipline. It's long-term thinking. You're not behind, you're not too late. You're just one decision away from building something real. But you have to respect the process. Wealth isn't built in a rush, it's built in rhythm, And the earlier you start, the more powerful your rhythm becomes. You also have to protect your energy from people who laugh at small moves. There will always be someone who says, "That's not enough." Ignore them. They're not building anything. They're waiting. You don't need permission to grow. You don't need a crowd cheering you on. You need one thing: commitment. Even when no one sees it. Even when no one understands it. That's how strong people are made. Quietly, daily, with small, consistent effort that builds real momentum. You can't let the numbers fool you. What matters is direction. Are you moving forward? Are you staying disciplined? Are you consistent even when it's not exciting? That's how wealth begins. That's how freedom is built. Every dollar saved is a decision. Every investment made is a commitment. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you win. Maybe not today, but in time, you'll see it, and it'll be worth it. Start now. Start small. But start. Put something away, build something slow, grow something steady, read more, learn more. Pay attention to where your money goes. Make your future a priority. Even if it feels small now, one day it won't. One day it'll be the foundation that gave you freedom while others stayed stuck. Not because you were lucky, but because you respected small beginnings and stayed with it. Section 4, ask questions when others stay quiet. If you stay silent, you stay stuck. That's the reality. The poor mindset keeps quiet out of fear. It doesn't want to look dumb. It doesn't want to feel judged. It doesn't want to seem behind. But the rich mindset, it doesn't care about looking smart. It cares about becoming smart. It asks, it questions, it digs, it wants to understand. That's how you grow. Not by pretending to know, but by having the courage to ask when others stay quiet. Most people miss their breakthrough not because they're not capable, but because they're too proud to ask. They sit in rooms full of information and let it pass them by. They act like they're paying attention, but their mind is full of fear. They're scared someone will think less of them if they speak up. But here's the truth. Staying quiet doesn't protect you. It only delays you. If you don't ask, you stay confused. You stay unsure. You stay small. Asking questions is not weakness. It's strategy. It's how you gain ground when others stall out. The most successful people in the world didn't get there by acting like they knew everything. They got there by asking better questions. They challenged the room. They pushed back. They said, "I don't get it. Explain it again." That's not insecurity. That's hunger. That's what separates those who move forward from those who stay stuck in fear. The poor mindset values ego. The rich mindset values growth. If you don't understand something, say so. Ask that question might open a door. That one sentence might lead to an opportunity. That one moment of courage might give you the clarity you've been missing. But if you let fear hold your tongue, you'll stay locked in the same cycle. You don't have time to stay quiet. Your future is too important to be polite in the face of confusion. Speak up. Ask. Get what you came for. You also have to understand this. Most people are just as confused as you are. They're just better at hiding it. So don't let their silence fool you. Don't shrink just because the room is quiet. Most of the time, people are praying someone else will ask the same thing they're thinking. Be that person. Be bold. Be the one who speaks. That's how leaders are made. That's how winners grow. They don't follow the crowd. They ask. They challenge. They stretch the conversation. The rich mindset doesn't mind looking wrong. It minds staying wrong. That's the difference. It's not about pride, it's about progress. You can't afford to stay confused just because you want to look smart. Looking smart is easy. Being smart takes work. And asking questions is part of that work. If something doesn't make sense, get clarity. If someone's ahead of you, study them. If you're in a new space, ask how it works. Ask what they do. Ask how they got there. There's no shame in learning. People with a poor mindset pretend to understand. They nod, they smile, and deep down they're lost. But they'd rather protect their image than gain insight. They'd rather fit in than grow. And that's what keeps them behind. It's not lack of opportunity, it's lack of honesty. You have to be real enough with yourself to say, I don't know, teach me. That's how you level up. That's how you close the gap. Don't let your pride rob you of progress. You have access to answers if you're willing to ask. You have people around you who can guide you, but they're not mind readers. You have knowledge waiting for you, but it won't chase you down. You have to go after it. You have to lean in. You have to be curious. That's what real growth looks like. Not always loud, but always brave. Think about this. What have you missed out on just because you didn't ask? What connection? What strategy? What insight? How many doors would have opened if you had just raised your hand? That's the weight of silence, and you can't carry it anymore. The rich mindset lets go of fear. It chooses courage. Even when it's uncomfortable, even when the room is quiet, it speaks up anyway. So from this point forward, be bold enough to ask. Whether it's in a classroom or a boardroom or a conversation that could change your life, ask how it works. Ask what they know. Ask what you're missing. You'll be surprised what happens when you start asking. The right people will notice. The right knowledge will reach you. And little by little, your mindset will change. Because now you're leading your own growth instead of waiting for someone else to lead it for you. Section 5. Take risks while others stay safe. You either build a life that matters or you settle for one that's safe. That's the difference. Most people choose safety, not because it's better, but because it's familiar. Because it's easier to stay where you are than to face the fear of what could go wrong. That's the poor mindset that protects itself from failure, but it also shuts itself off from growth. The rich mindset, it sees risk for what it is, a door that only opens for those who have the courage to knock. If you play your whole life safe, you'll miss the very things you were meant for. The opportunities, the growth, the freedom, the breakthrough. These things don't come to people who wait, they come to people who move. People who are willing to make a decision when the outcome isn't guaranteed. People who are willing to invest, try, speak up, go first, not because it's easy, but because they understand the cost of playing it safe for too long. You can't grow if you refuse to stretch. You can't win if you never bet on yourself. If you always need a guarantee before you move, you'll spend your whole life stuck. Because there are no guarantees in real life, only patterns. Only principles, only effort and time, but you won't see any of that until you take the first step. You can't wait for perfect conditions. You have to act with what you've got. That's what the rich mindset does. It takes risks. It moves while others pause. Ask yourself this, how long have you been sitting on your ideas? How many times have you stopped yourself because of what might go wrong? How many dreams have you watered down just to fit into the box of safety? That's how people lose their potential, not because they weren't talented, but because they never had the courage to try. They let fear vote. They let doubt decide. And they gave up their future for the illusion of comfort. But the rich mindset plays a different game. It knows comfort is the enemy of progress. It knows safety is often a trap. You don't need a soft pillow, you need a strong reason. You don't need a promise of ease. You need a purpose that makes the discomfort worth it. That's why people with a rich mindset rise. Not because they had more, but because they risked more. They tried what others only talked about. They stepped forward while others hesitated. You won't feel ready. You won't feel certain. You won't always feel strong, but you have to act anyway. Because action builds strength. Risk builds character. Mistakes build wisdom. And pain builds purpose. You can either run from the fire or walk through it and come out sharper. Most people never get the reward because they never enter the fight. They talk about what they want, but stop the moment it requires risk. That's where they lose. That's where they settle. Risk doesn't mean foolishness. It doesn't mean jumping without thought. It means believing in your ability to adapt, to learn, to recover. It means trusting your discipline. It means saying, even if this fails, I'll grow from it. That mindset is powerful. That's what makes you unstoppable. Because now failure isn't your enemy. It's part of the process. It's part of the price. And you've decided you're willing to pay it. Some of the best decisions you'll ever make won't make sense to others. That's okay. They don't need to understand. It's not their life to build. It's yours. And if you want a life that stands out, you'll have to stop following the path of those who played it safe. You'll have to move when others sit still. You'll have to take chances. You'll have to say yes when your voice shakes. You'll have to walk away from comfort and into growth. The poor mindset waits for the right moment. The rich mindset creates it. One sits, one builds, one avoids, one attacks, and every day you get to choose which one you're living in. Don't wait until you're older. Don't wait until everything is figured out. Don't wait for someone to give you permission. The right time is now, and the right person is you. You only get one shot at life. Don't use it building walls to protect your fear. Use it building bridges to your future. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a strong decision. Take the risk. Start the project. Apply for the role. Ask the question. Build the business. Pitch the idea. Move to the city. Say what you believe. Live in a way that makes you proud when it's over. Because in the end, the pain of risk will never hurt more than the pain of regret. If you take one thing from this, let it be this. Your future is built by action, not hesitation. Safety might keep you comfortable, but it won't move you forward. Playing small won't protect your dreams. It will only delay them until they die quietly. You weren't made to stay average. You weren't built to hide. You were given a mind, a body, and a spirit capable of change. So use them. Take the risk. Trust yourself. Start before you feel ready. Move before they clap for you. Don't wait for permission. Don't play it safe. Build something. Become someone. Live bold. That's the mindset that wins. And that's the mindset that makes life worth living.